cashless policy is to boost financial inclusion and also enhance the country's payment system, so says Comfort Amadu in this report.
Recently, the Central Bank of Nigeria reviewed and revised cash withdrawal limit across all channels by individuals and corporate organizations to 500,000 and 5 billion naira each, an ATM withdrawal pegged at 100,000 naira daily as it redesigned Nigerians' major currencies.
We are going to have a lot of policies that will go alongside it, that will make sure that we adopt an electronic payment system properly.
The belief is that the latest in the series of reviews on the central bank's cashless policy is that it will not slow down trade but promote financial inclusion.
As a matter of fact, it's a great opportunity for central bank to look at, strengthening the naira. Maybe we should be looking at, 400 in the near term, and they will also have to do something about the ubiquity of what they call the so-called black market or parallel market, whereby people can change money easily on the streets and everywhere and anywhere. It's not done in any country, and Nigeria must also conform with that global best practice.
In the capital market, Monday's trading session closed on a positive note. All-share index appreciated by 0.92% at 51,693.08 basis point, as against 0.70% recorded previously. With Business News, Comfort Amadu.
Comfort Amadu with Business News. Thank you, Comfort. We appreciate that. Next is newspaper review.
Time for newspaper reviewer. Before I introduce him, I almost forgot to compliment my colleague here, Kieran, who is looking rather dapper this morning in his, of course, ox-colored safari suit. All right, Kieran, I'm sure that the camera will catch you in due course. But let's welcome Chukwudi Okolie Uwaja. Permit me to call him Chooks the Boy.
Ox-colored what? I am beginning to feel threatened by him. I will talk to my tailor. Hello, lady and gentlemen.
I didn't mean to do that.
I am happy to be here. As oppressive as his sartorial outlook is, I still stand solid. May I welcome you formally to the program? Thank you, my dear.
That's not to say you're not going to do something. That's not to say you're not going to do something.
When the time comes.
Let's go. All right, together with it.
Yeah,
okay, so let me begin. With New Telegraph, I have two papers. Quickly, it's a splash of so many stories on the front page, but the headline, INEC raises fresh alarm over threat to polls. Details of that, 5, 29 and 30. But it comes with the riders. Quickly, once insecurity may lead to constitutional crisis, debunks news of fresh release of candidates finalist. Another rider, court actively, it could ultimately culminate in the cancellation and or postponement of elections. Again, you can read the story. It's on page 4. But back to the New Telegraph paper. There are quite a number of stories. Okay, Edo train attack. 6 more victims rescued. That's on the right column there. Security agencies intensify search for others. Police nab 2 more suspects. Now, terrorism. 19 months after U.S. lawmaker demands Kano release. Court okays Oyo deputy governor's impeachment. How COVID-19 delayed made in Nigeria helicopter and a bus. And just at the bottom of the paper, insurgency, Buhari alleges deliberate attempts to destabilize Nigeria. Details of that on page 4. Urges citizens not to compromise security. Commends armed forces, police for their sacrifices. Urges Adamawa voters to trust Tinubu and Shetima. And our 2023 presidential campaign is also trending at the bottom of the paper. And okay, I think that's the main stories on New Telegraph. Let me quickly take leadership again. Other stories trending, I'm sure they are almost the same stories. Kidnappers of Edo train passengers demand 620 million naira ransom. That's on the left column. And of course, just atop the nameplate, FCTA introduces pack and pay policy in Abuja. FCTA reintroduces pack and pay policy in Abuja. PNB canvasses votes for Tinubu Binani in Adamawa. And I think that's Kieran.
Alright, now let's turn to the Blue Points newspaper before we bring in Chukudi. From top to bottom, Blue Point newspaper. Binani's victory as Adamawa governor will open doors for women, according to Buhari. 3 riders urges electorate to queue behind APC candidate. Fintere Lamido riled president on support to state. Buhari has laid foundation for my victory. That's Tinubu there. The story is captured on page 6 of Blue Point. Now the lead story. INEC's fresh alarm on 2023 polls. Insecurity may force cancellation, postponement if riders as follows. Task security personnel to forestall threats. IPAC slams forces working against INEC chair. Says commission emboldened by modern technology. We must develop strong confidence in our country. Buhari says. It's on page 5 of the Blue Point. Alright, on the left-hand side of the newspaper, equity market opens week positive gains, 256 billion naira. Well, it's on page 22. I wouldn't mind buying fuel at 300 per litre after office. That's according to Dnipro Saver, Minister of State for Petroleum. Explains rise in kerosene price. For Port refinery to resume operations in March. That's on page 23. Alright, now Airtel Nigeria spends $316 million on 4G and 5G spectrum. Okay. Now below the photo story there, ordinary query. Monarch must respect authority, not play God. Ebira leaders is on page 7 for details of the story. Now at the bottom of the Blue Point newspaper, Edo magistrate ex-lawmaker kidnapped, 6 twin attack victims rescued. Kano, we settled for Garuna as my successor, according to Ganduja, is on page 15 of Blue Point. Election tribunal won't be compromised. That's Appeal Court President assures. It's on page 15 as well. Naira resumes year-on-year week. Back of sliding foreign reserves. It's on page 23. Now Sunny, that's the kicker. Federal government to float 3 industrial parks. Votes 3.2 billion for first phase. Details on page 5. Yeah, Chukudi, what is trending for you? Of course, we have insecurity.
Yes.
Insecurity, and an election.
I don't know whether any other thing should trend for me this morning, looking at the headline on INEC's worry. You know, in journalism, we say when it bleeds, it leads. When it bleeds, it leads. That means catastrophe, calamity usually attract headlines better than
good news.
That's it. Okay, no news is good news. So the reason I say this is today I'm going to talk about our attendance in the newsroom. We're going to look at the things that were said, at this occasion where the alarm was raised. I think that I mentioned this when I was talking with a Kingsley the other day, the cup sometimes has to be half full of water for a journalist than being half empty. Each of them is correct. It is half there, it's either half full or half empty. What we are doing here is the case of a man biting a dog. It is half empty for us there. Well, the journalists will tell you, we do this so that we too begin to warn about possibilities of what is the bedrock of democracy. It is elections. So we cannot toy with it. So to that extent, we can justify the headlining. Otherwise, I'll tell you that on the same occasion, that's where it was the validation of election security training resources, where the person standing in for the INEC chairman warned about possible postponement or even outright cancellation, you know. But what we're saying here is that INEC is telling us that the bottom line is for an environment for free and fair polls to happen. If that is not assured, then we could take this step. I'm sure that legally, the legal instruments are there for INEC to take action when this happens. But they too said at the occasion that they are not going to let that happen. And the National Security Advisor, Babagana Mongil, also joined and said it would not happen. So why would we not pick our headline from there? I don't think that distress should be in the order of the day all the time. I may be ratting on journalists, but I think I need to say that.
I understand you. Yeah, what about the ethical value? I mean, how you should practice. It is there, but then the commercial aspects of journalism, should not be negated.
We have to solve.
Yes, because that aspect of the people should exist in the first place. Yeah. They are run by individuals, by management. Okay, they have infrastructure to take care of. So in that correction, they just pitch that aspect, which they run ordered. They didn't just produce it. Okay, so the first I would imagine where do we draw the line? Yes, where do we draw the line? When you introducing that, yes, where do we now draw the line?
Can't be correct all the time. Sorry. Watching the journalists. Hold on. Please go on. And so where do we now draw the line between, having the interest of the state on one hand, and then having business inclined on the other? Yeah. So where do we draw the line? There must be a between point. That's where do you delineate? Yes. You're asking me, where do we delineate individuality? You see, I tell people you can't have a journalist just because you have factuality, fairness, objectivity, and balance. There has to be an honest man for those things to work. You meet a country. You see, these people come with these things about professional ethics. I look at you and say, what is the background of the man who is practicing the professional ethic? How good is he? How well brought up is that? Let's get to another. No, not best today. It's fine. So let's sorry. Let us read out the proper thing. This paper, that's leadership. No. It says the nation's electoral body, and of course, INEC chairman was represented. He said the INEC councilman stressed that security personnel in particular and non-election officials in general must be security conscious and alert to unusual activities in the environment. That's a Bible. Exactly. The National Security Advisor, General Mohammed Babagana Mungunu, also assured the nation that conducive environment will be provided for successful conduct of the 2023 general election. So why don't we have not that's wrong? Exactly. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Journalists are not going to enlighten me. I'm not telling you enlighten the movement anyway. I'm sorry.
It's in order. It's in order. Yeah. But in a country where you have a proliferation of the media, where even online practice is a point. Now, people will want to survive. I'm not saying that it's the correct thing to do, but I'm not totally wrong in a way, because once that statement was made, by the person who was quoted. I mean, they quoted the person who made. So it's not as if they faked it. Okay, but I understand what you wanted to be modern.
Sometimes you need to become a social manager here.
Patriotic.
Whatever post you occupy in life. Can you take another?
Intention.
Yes, we have 2 minutes.
But I have 2 minutes saving.
We have just 2 minutes.
Okay. We have an idea. I talked to you.
Okay. So there's another I didn't read. I think it escaped me. Federal government promises to end fuel imports by 2024. I think this was when the minister during the scorecard of the petroleum ministry yesterday, and this paper is saying that it's quoting the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timipo Silva, as saying that this will be made possible by the commencement of operations in the 650,000 barrel per day Dangote refinery.
That's exactly. And he also added that he wouldn't mind buying a liter of fuel at 300 naira per liter.
But the benefits of that. That's part of what happens is you test the waters, see how the populace is, so that you can set your price psychologically before we do the real thing. But the Dangote rescue is inevitable. The bottom line for us, what's going to matter at the end of the day is how much would fuel cell, PMS particularly, that's the petroleum and mineral spirit, how much will it go for when the Dangote refinery, which is the pride of Africa, eventually comes on stream?
You know, Nigerians don't mind as long as the product is available. Look at electricity supply. I can say that honestly, I've enjoyed. You know, I thought it was happening only in the hamlet. No. So we must give the kudos. As long as the product is available, that's a fact. Now, but clearly, I'm sorry, we have got a no. This time for me this morning.
On what you have said, you understand? Nigerians cannot say, you cannot tell me that Nigerians will be happy to buy 300 naira per liter, because right now in the southeast of Nigeria it's 300 naira per liter. Right now, people control price in the southeast. Let me tell you, if that amount circulates in the whole nation, 300 naira per liter, of course, what's going to happen in transportation? What's going to happen with foodstuff? The all will rise. And that's what I'm saying. Now, then the refinery you mentioned, then the refinery, people have forgotten that refinery was not set up for Nigeria particularly. Because the man has a focus on the international market. All right, that's your original plan. You could give you some percentage, but he started this international market, so let us not rely on that as a rescue totally. You know, and all that.
Okay, but we will not end without me applauding the flag off of the campaign of the only woman, that's Binani, who is, who will contesting the position of governor for Adamawa State, and the flag of yesterday was quite.
We have to support our women.
We have to support our women.
On that note, we call it on this edition of Newspaper Review. Well, thank you, Chukwudi, for being here this morning.
I hope I wasn't particularly contentious this morning.
No.
I thought I should betray journalists about.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, we'll of course focus our attention on issues concerning security during elections, with particular interest on the programs and activities of the police. Stay with us.
Nigeria, African beauty on the Gulf of Guinea, blessed with natural landmarks and wildlife reserves. Nigeria, largest economy in Africa. Nigeria, famous accomplishment in entertainment and sports. Nigeria, resourced with globally respected human capital. Our uniqueness lies in our tenacity, our acumen, a testament of success. At NTA, we are forever proud to be the showcase channel of this positive energy and the reflection of the good in our nation. The capacity to tell our nation's story would not have been possible without the support and patronage of the three arms of government: ministries, departments, agencies, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and of course you, our esteemed viewers. As we wish you a prosperous new year, let's get set to make 2023 even greater together.
Critical military objectives of total defeat of the terrorists in the Northeast is already been achieved. Synchronized group and air operations have continued to inflict huge casualties on the terrorists, and they have been forcing many of them, including their commanders and emirs, to surrender in droves with members of their families. Whilst areas where terrorists hitherto had some freedom of actions are being cleared, and socio-economic life is gradually returning to the most parts of the Northeast. As well, internal displaced persons are now returning to their ancestral homes to start life all over in dignity under safe and more secure environment.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being a good boy, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
All our country people, they talk with one voice. Them say, Shiwaju Bola Tinubu then runs as president of Nigeria for this president election. As Shiwaju Bola Tinubu, that the man will we all know and see all the good work in they do for the country, especially when in the governor of Lagos State. Now he's got the youth turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria. Today, many people all over Nigeria, they like to go Lagos, go settle down for business and better life. Because of the good work when Bola Tinubu do, people of Nigeria, as Shiwaju do for Lagos, now so him ready to do for the whole country. Vote Shiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC, the party will get to broom.
If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Nigeria, only on the NTA network service. Now, to begin our conversation on the subject matter, let's watch the views of some Nigerians and their expectations from the security sector in 2023.
Part of the missing link, I think, is the constructive engagement beyond the security agencies of other stakeholders. Who are those? Look at the population of this country, 65% of it are youth. To what extent are we employing them? Not necessarily in terms of job opportunity, but using them as part of security architecture. To what extent are we engaging them? Then one other critical component is our traditional rulers. To what extent, or leaders, to what extent are we involving them in these issues? And set a narrative for the future where citizenship is seen as synonymous with protecting the common good. Nigeria, secured Nigeria, a peaceful Nigeria, a Nigeria that is progressive, a Nigeria that looks after the interests of everybody in Nigeria, a Nigeria that
You know, a harm to one is a harm to all. You know, so in that case, when you attack, an attack is going on in Zamfara, people in Plateau or in Imo State should start thinking that, oh, should be showing empathy with people in Zamfara and say, look, this is an attack on all. Not that what is happening in Imo, then people in Lagos are saying that's an Igbo problem.
I am not a proponent of Nigerian Army doing research and development differently, Nigerian Air Force doing research and development differently, Navy doing differently, police differently, because we are filtering away the resources. And in fact, even when we do the resources, we operate in silos. We do not share how far I have gone. The whole of the US Armed Forces, with multi-billion naira budget, they only have one agency that does military research and agency. That one agency. For a country that's at peace, try and spend from 0.5% to 1% of your budget every year on your security. Because security, like I said, is a knife which you must keep sharp.
All right, you've just listened to excerpts from our conversation on the security sector in 2023. That was the previous edition. Today we have joining us in the studio to continue our discussion on that same topic, but this time with focus on the Nigerian Police Force. We have Dr. Abila Joshak, and he's retired Deputy Inspector General of Police. He was also in charge of operations. We'd like to welcome you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Of the season.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Also here in the studio with us is Mohammed Mustafa, and he's retired Assistant Inspector General of Police. He also joins us live here in the studio. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, and I have the pleasure to introduce Lawrence Alobi, retired Commissioner of Police and lawyer. So good morning and welcome. It's good to see you once again.
A pleasure, Kirian.
Yes. Honestly, I want to start with you because I remember back in the days, you know, in anyone you are a PRO of our police. You know, you handled the tough times, you know, during that period, you know, elections and other security, you know, issues, you know, in the southeast of Nigeria then. Before you came to Abuja and became the Commissioner of Police. All right, sir. Now, with that background, you know, and the exposure we've had, let's look at the 2023 general elections. And of course, the security situation generally in the country. Let's have your view on what should be the strategies to be put in place by the police, considering the current situation in the country in terms of security. And again, with elections coming, there could be new criminal activities that will go with the elections. So let's hear from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kirian. You know, Section 14B of the Constitution provides that security and welfare of the citizen is the prime purpose of government. And then, in that case, again, each government must establish institutions that ensure that security is granted. Law and order is a critical aspect of governance. Nations are built on law and order. And if there is no law and order, then of course the government they can't be sure of anything else. The security is very, very important. There's a nexus between security, development, security, and peace. When there is no peace, of course, people can go about our business without intimidation. So, looking at the present situation, it's very disturbing actually that the security situation in the country is becoming very challenging, and the most challenging to security agencies, particularly the police, which is the primary agency in internal security. But unfortunately, the government itself has neglected the police to a very, very the police level. That the police only playing the second fiddle in terms of internal security. Like election is coming out, it's supposed to be the lead agency in terms of election security management. But now the other sectors like the military, the civil defense, other security agencies are supposed to support the police, like supportive agencies. Like in the third one is a problem in terms of internal security. The police are giving primary concern of the government should how to build the capacity of the police officers, the police as an institution. Because if we don't build capacity, they don't expect them to perform. And when Mr. President addressed the senior officers in Owerri, he enjoined them to ensure that the neutrality of the security agency is being upheld in elections. That neutrality, how do you acquire that? How you become neutral in terms of when you have the capacity to have professionalism in terms of your job, not just being based on what you think. Based on lay down process and procedures. So to do an election had three phases. The pre-election, which is now the present situation we have now. This is a pre-election period, election day, and post-election. It has its own characteristics in terms of violence and so forth. And right now, the most important thing is that the problem is that in this country, our politicians are not patriotic. They are concerned how to grab power and use power to amass wealth and impoverish the people, not talking about development. They're not patriotic. So the government should be concerned about how do we build the capacity of the police force, because police is an agency. When you cannot militarize democracy by making the military to now become carrying out police functions, you don't militarize policing. It has been established in police science that the type of government in the country determines the style of policing. That's why we begin the colonial policing, which is repressive, and within the military we have militarized policing, which is also repressive. Now in democracy. But democracy now, police officers should embed democratic policing, which is anchored on principle of democracy. So the government itself have an important role to play. I'm sure that the police are trained, and untrained policeman personnel is a threat to society and to the institution. So the police should be the capacity of police officers. They must give them that capacity that it requires them to perform to the best interest of the country. And the people are frustrated. Most people are frustrated because they don't now. If you put a point like no election is coming, they are deployed to areas they don't even know. You go from morning till night, they have no food to eat. They become vulnerable to be manipulated by politicians. Become, oh, officer, take this. Officer, in that case, be prone to be being used, being manipulated. Okay, so the government should ensure that the Nigerian police force is well equipped, well funded, and officers are well motivated. Alongside with other policies.
Thank you. We will look at the roadmap for repositioning the Nigeria police, and also the role, as you have enumerated, the specific role that they should or could play, especially in the forthcoming, election, in February. But let's lay the foundation, because if you don't know, where we were and evaluate, the process, we probably would not be able to diagnose, accurately. So I'm going to begin my own question with the former, DIG, Joshak, because CP Alobi had mentioned neglect and capacity issues, as well as frustration. And of course, he also said that Section 14 puts the primary, responsibility of security on government. At what point did the Nigerian police fall off the edge?
Well, the Nigerian police cannot be said to have abdicated their responsibility, but that the Nigerian police require some input, some actions by the government to reposition them very well. We've seen the Nigerian police, and there are very, very fine gentlemen out there. A lot of them know exactly what to do. I'm saying that because I've seen them at work, and I also was responsible for deployment.
You know why I asked this question? Sorry to interject, because I want us to properly dissect. I remember growing up, in the 80s. You will see a policeman, stop the vehicle for school children, to even cross. I remember in Lagos, you were very happy when you saw a policeman, in his uniform and all that. But today it's quite different. When you see a policeman now, you tend to run away. I mean, you're scared of your life. You don't know what will happen, the next moment. So at what point did that problem, or maybe I should ask, what really is the problem of the Nigerian police today?
Well, I agree with you that in some instances, the Nigerian police are held to account for some of their actions, because some of them, of course, have been keyed out. Some of them have not realized that their primary assignment is to ensure that the safety of the people and their properties is one thing that has made them under this assignment. And so members of the public also should be able also to look at the police as that organization that protect and also care for their safety and their properties. But we miss that when the Nigerian police possibly discover that the society also are not getting fixed up with them. In other words, some of the men have had to misuse their power and then pounce on members of the public, and maybe lack of orientation and so many other things. That has resulted in creating a division between the Nigerian police that is supposed to have been seen as that organization that is responsible for protection of the citizen. And so the citizen of this country decided, a lot of them to think that the Nigerian police is not friendly. The Nigerian police does not do exactly what is expected to do, and so confidence and trust is lost.
Yeah, exactly. So, honestly, from what we've said and what we've known over the years, there is a big concern about police and policing in Nigeria. I've had a cause to interview one former Inspector General of Police, IGP, on one occasion to say that the police at the headquarters are well kitted with every other requirements, gadgets, And when you go to the streets or to operationals, to postings of the police, you see some tattered men there. Some are not wearing even shoes and carrying AK-47 under the sun, looking haggard and looking angry in the first place. That is why sometimes people give them money. Some people think it's bribe. Bribe is when you commit an offense and they want to bribe your way out of it. But when you see somebody who's under the sun, who you know that this person is not a happy man, you could say, okay, my friend, take this and stop. For me, that's not a bribe, But the man means it, because you can see that he means it, and all that. So that brings us to the question my colleague raised earlier on. The major problem, what is the fundamental issue? That has to do with what do you call it? Salaries, emoluments, or whatever it is that police are paid. And I asked that IGP then that no policeman should earn less than 200,000 naira a month. Even the recruits should not. It starts from welfare and all that. So when the IG was saying that people lost confidence in the police, it's because they're turned beggars. They're turned beggars and all that. It's happening today. So let's bring you in, AIG Mohammed Mustafa, retired. I know you've had a lot of experience, having gotten to the level of AIG before you retired. Now you know what is happening today, security-wise. Yeah. How do we revamp the Nigerian police or re-energize the Nigerian police?
Thank you, Kirian. How do you get to this level? Let's look at it. The decadence, a long period of decadence. Government is also involved. The police itself is part of the problem. Then the public, the CP has said it. You deserve the police that you get the police that you deserve. She has just said that the policeman used to be very happy doing crossing children and all these things. You look at that time. The people own their police. So the relationship, look at it. So much has passed under the bridge for us to reach this. So much of the decadence and neglect and abandonment has led us to this. Several years of this. If you look at Damurabi and Muhammad Yusuf recommendations on reform of the police, you need the complete budget of the country to bring the police to the minimum level that we need. So thank God now the government has intervention is okay, police trust force is around. So it is left for us to do the accountability actually.
Yes, before you make sure. Yes, how much did military interventions in this country affect
It's so much.
Yes.
It's so much. This is you sabi into even within, forget about even the military. EFCC. Who formed the EFCC? The EFCCs are police officers. They formed it to this level. All of them, all the past leaders. And now look at the present situation now. They don't even want to police officers to even on it because of what do you call it, the panel. The panel recommended that others should lead the police. I mean the EFCC. Very soon we'll start seeing that EFCC will start going down. Somebody who brought you, nurture you, train you, and all that, and now you have excised them. Very soon there will be set up. I'm telling you, we'll see that EFCC will not perform because you said you don't need the man who trained you, who brought you. You understand? That interest is very important. So it's just needless. You are creating this, but this is just for the EFCC. The military cannot do policing. It's not just possible. We have, even when we hand over issues, there is an arrangement that if it is beyond the police, you have to arrange the rules of engagement. The procedure, your SOP is very clear before you hand over a situation. Such things are not being done at the earliest of any. Police is the first responder. But today,
CP Alobi also mentioned neglect,
yes,
and capacity. So could these two also be a reason why today the integrity of the police has eroded?
Of course, when we don't do a lot of training, it is. I've told you, part of the problem is also the police, of course. Training, you neglect training. How do you get it? At one time, why do you perform very well outside the country in peacekeeping operations? I was in Burundi. We were only two officers that even went for peacekeeping in Burundi. Two of us. There are our colleagues in the military were there, so others were there. I was in Angola. I was also in Liberia. We do. We perform wonderfully well. Why? Because there's a lot of motivation. Your salary at home is flowing. Your family are very happy. Then your allowances in the UN too. You perform. In fact, in most of the peacekeeping there, certain positions are being reserved for Nigerian police officers.
Yes, I was
positions.
Yes, I recall the police had accolades from the UN for their performance.
So what happened?
Now, you mentioned something very, very critical here, and that has to do with the police. The police is also its own problem.
Yes.
There are times some persons who do night operations, there should be allowances for that.
Okay.
It never gets to them. Yes, the guys will chop it. And some people will tell you that, look, some policemen, if you want to make it, they'll post you to a particular place. It may be a roadblock or whatever. Then the person who sends you there, like, have to bring returns. I don't know how true that is anyway, but these are the things the society, the people are believing that is happening. So CPLOB, I mean, you have traced how we got there, you know. Now, how do we meticulously run police affairs in the country to ensure that even internally, that there is peace internally, you know, within the police itself, to be able to administer itself? Because after all said and done, we have a hierarchy. And whatever government gives to the police, of course, that hierarchy has a responsibility to administer and, of course, be responsible for that. So how do we now checkmate, you know, the people who run the fabric of Nigerian police?
You see, looking at the problem confronting the police, you can start from looking from historically. She brought about the issue of the military. Military intervention destroyed the police. Seriously, we need to be factual about it. Don't play to the gallery. Let the truth be told. When the military came on board, the military saw the police as a threat. That Shari was equipping the police to check the military coup. And when the people came on board, they saw the police as a threat. They want to make sure they don't make the police to be impotent. So the equipment was seized and so forth. They neglected. And let us say the truth. Police were doing for military operations. I was in federal operation for 5 years, the longest in Nigerian police force. Right? I was a constable together with battalion. Even in Abuja, together with 10th Marine Commando, we all together. Police functions are different. The police were being brought down, and it militarized the police to be subservient. You don't see the police as being important. That rivalry is still there. We can't play to the gallery. Rivalry is still there. We need to be factual. This is our country. We have no way to go to pretend to allow to put things under the carpet. Let us be factual. It's our country. Nobody come and help the country for us. We have to make our country better. Let's face the fact. The police is the key agency But the government has made the police to look irrelevant. You know, the way you present me, the way the people see me, and they make them like you said, this internal leadership of the police should have responsible. They are too docile. Anything happens with you, we don't care. For me, I will tell you the truth. Because at this age and rank, I don't think what am I afraid of again? I'm not going to appointment. But I want what is good for this country. The police need to be reformed. Not just cosmetic reform. It's holistic reform in terms of training, in terms of equipment, in terms of motivation. Their barracks.
Sorry, I am not cutting you short, but just to about the Police Service Commission. What's your opinion should be the rule? And because Police Service Commission having issue with the IGP and all of that, they're in court, and stuff like that. So what is that?
That is very embarrassing. Why should the Police Service Commission be there to oversight the function of the police in terms of promotion, in terms of discipline, and that discipline has a procedure in terms of our FI, for administrative instruction and disciplinary procedure. The police have to look at take the process. Officer is giving a query, or if the junior officer is the first administrator on the room, and if it's an officer is being queried, the panel of disciplinary committee is made, and then recommended to the police commission for implementation. Promotion also will be recommended because the chairman of the police commission and the officer of the police commission cannot know who is the officer who is effective on ground. They have to recommend, actually have to recommend the police service commission. They now implement, and also they sit together and do things together. The issue of where they now discuss between police service commission and the IG of the police management team is very embarrassing for me, because they have the same goal, they have the same purpose to motivate and train and be capable of the police force, and to give the mission maybe have the police force that this country deserves. Yeah. But it is something that they start struggling, going to court, and so what are they competing?
I know synergy.
It should be synergy.
Synergy and collaboration is a very critical issue, not just in the police force, but it cuts across all sectors. CPR, maybe I'm still staying with you before we come back to Dr. Habila Joshua. You talked about the impact of military intervention, military regimes on the efficiency of the police. But for how many years have we returned to civil rule? It's even worse. The integrity of the Nigerian police is worse even under the civilian rule. Would you, if you look around your surroundings, would you be proud to be called a policeman if you look at what is happening to you?
Even if I die and come 10 times, I'll be a police officer. Because even the Bible says, better are the peacemakers, so called children of God. Policing is service-oriented. Only to render service, the purpose of life is to render service. We are in this room, we're enjoying free oxygen. This oxygen is giving us free sunshine, free rain, free life, free world. But to render service. But the military, actually, like I said, the military intervention will destroy the police. Our values, our cultures, our professionalism was eroded. And you see, the government made the people to believe that police is impotent. Police are not performance. Like his kid said, I was a PR in Anambra State, and I know what we did. In fact, Mr. Okaro was anchoring my program in NTA then. You see, they made people believe that they made people understand the police is doing very well there to serve them. And so 24 years the commission provide that most of the citizens have a critical role to play in military law and order. The people that say the citizens in this country helping the police. Again, Nigerian citizens always believe our rights. Remember, think about his obligations and duty as a citizen. As a citizen, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to assist? Like the election is coming now. What are we to do as citizens? Citizens have a role to play. You should have vote buying, and so forth. Motivate their conscience, sell their rights, stipends, maybe 10,000, 1,500, and they end the position come there, unscrupulous position come there, and destroy the country. So the police, both internal problem and external problem. Internal problem that's why the force has to be dynamic. That you got to see that these problems are addressed holistically. And the government has to be sincere. The government is not sincere to the police. It's not the police at all. For me, the Nigerians need the police. They need to apologize to the police, but they have neglected the police force, and that's the consequence. It comes from what they are solving today. If you don't have a good police force, there's no way you can internal security. Like I said, nations are based on law and order, and law and order is anchored in the police function.
Yes, okay. Well, Nigeria is also a nation known to be under-policed. Yet we have a number of policemen who drafted, if you like, to secure VIPs, and you see one VIP with about 7 policemen. Well, I'm not saying that they should not have such security arrangement, but when one person, like a minister, for instance, have to 6, 7, or 8 of them, I was wondering what is their responsibility? He's just one man. 7 of them, you just count them deliberately to know how many of these men are following this particular man. And I'll count how many VIPs that we have in this country. Not just those in government, but also even outside government who are well to do in terms of, having big pocket and stuff. You see them having permanently posted policemen on them, both at home in the village, at his home in township, and his office. One man. Now, what does he also tell us about policing in Nigeria? Because each time an IGP is appointed, the first statements we make is that we will withdraw all those policemen that are serving as VIPs. After that, within 2 weeks, nothing will happen until date. So what does that tell us? And again, being on the police, what should be done? Retired DIG Dr. Haibula Joshak.
No, it's not the police that is not the Nigerian Police Authority that decide as to how many number of officers and men to be deployed. It is on request, and sometimes a lot of the people who would want to have the police in that large number would insist that they tread on them. It's a very serious one.
It doesn't happen in other crimes. It doesn't happen in other crimes, or the people look for their own private security in other crimes.
Well, in other crimes, I wouldn't actually say yes, no. But like I said, the responsibility of the Nigerian police to ensure safety of citizens and their properties within the country. And sometimes when these very important persons that have responsibility, of course, sometimes doing some assignment that the government have allocated to them, come around and say, without this kind of personality around them, they won't be able to perform. And so the officer out there doing trade analysis would want to say, okay, we can give you this, but we can't give you what you want. And sometimes it becomes difficult for the man to accept the number that has been cut down. And so the officer himself would want a situation where he has to assure the VIP and ensure that he is protected. And so you deploy because it is a need. But I agree with you that the number in some cases are outrageous.
Sir, please let me speak for ordinary Nigerian.
Yeah.
Or the ordinary Nigerian who is not a VIP, who also has the right to be protected by the police. And we are saying that the number of policemen that we have is under, considering the population of Nigeria.
Yes.
And it is growing on daily basis. And these men are increasing the number of policemen attached to them also on daily basis. Now, if everybody that has money in this country should have police attached to it, as a matter of fact, there will be no police to be drafted anywhere else apart from individuals. Right. So what I'm saying, sir, is that in other crimes, if American police, for instance, will deploy policemen to individuals, VIPs, all the VIPs in America, I'm not sure it's going to work that way. But I'm saying that it is an extra duty. Should there be innovation in policing in Nigeria to even ensure that the number of policemen that they have will be able to police properly and not following individuals around and all of that, or locations and all of that. For me, and many Nigerians, I see it as some kind of, it's a minus, so to speak. What can be done to adjust that, please?
Yes, I think I agree with you that a lot of citizens frown at a situation where one man is surrounded by a lot of police officers armed, he alone. And I think that the police should look towards that direction and ensure that protecting the individuals should not come should not be put first in protecting the country and other citizens. So I think this is very, very important, and I think that there has been some points that have been stressed informing the authority of the Nigerian police that they should be very, very careful, and they should try as much as possible to do trade analysis on every other person and decide what number, the number of some of the police or the number of police officers in some crime where
one man has about 10 policemen. It's not acceptable. And therefore, there must be the need for the authority and the hierarchy of the Nigerian police to look at that.
And some of them lose their lives. Some of them lose their lives. Let
me bring in AIG Mustafa here. AIG Mustafa. So we are now talking about the strength of the Nigeria police. And of course, the ability to police effectively, and bring law and order. The UN projects one police person, one policeman to 100,000 to 400. Yes, yes. We don't even at the moment. We don't even know the strength of the police because during the course of a research which I conducted, I tried to get the population of the police. I couldn't. No exact. We don't know the strength of our policemen. I don't know if it is for security reasons that they sometimes don't want to divulge the strength of the police. We also know that there was this administration also directed the recruitment of additional police force. So what is your idea of the strength, of the adequate strength of Nigerian police that will provide effective policing?
Actually, even the UN requirements actually can be implemented. It's all about, we have already said it. Why should the Police Service Commission and the police force leadership fighting? We have already lost like two sets of trainees because of the infight. Why should they be? And why should they be allowed to do that? The president should intervene. He's the chairman of the police council. Other presidents are also there. This is something that's directly affecting us. So it's we have just decided to. I don't know whether it's a cost. Actually,
so you take the recruitment of more additional policemen. Exactly. There's no need for that.
There is. What I'm trying to say, there is a lot of wastages, and we refuse to address this. A lot of wastage. Policemen have been tried to dismiss. Very many have been killed. In the NSAS, how many policemen do we lose? Every day we lose policemen. We know that the wastages are not being addressed. This is one. Two, we are also not moving. We have our own training policy. We're supposed to have every year chunk out, train and bring out certain number of policemen. This is not being achieved. All this is boils down to the decadence that we are talking about. So what I'm trying to, and then the politicians, so we are talking about politicians carry a lot of this. This regime, where it comes, I know the president removed like 300 policemen in the Bila when this regime started. There are too many. These are the kind of leadership that we need. Because there has no requirement for them to be in that villa. They are fortunate, they are deployed. So the politicians, police always do a lot of policies. Even the special protection in the SP is meant for these politicians because you need to pay and then have the policemen. But most of them abandon this one, go and take the PMM personnel, the policemen by force, to bring them because they don't have to pay and all that. The police force created the SPU because of these services, because it was very, very difficult. They insist by all means because the political leadership will not resist having this number of policemen. So these
SPOs were specifically created for the purposes of these. So they are paid escorts.
Yes, but in most cases you see them neglecting this, and then they will go for the PMF because you don't want to pay, or because they are the political leaders. They want to have as much as even the state government houses don't need this.
But how does this now affect the provision of effective security? Because
of course,
yes, because most times we see that the police reacts to when incidents, attacks have been carried out, when incidents occur. Look at what happened at the Kamikini train station. Yes. I mean, it appeared that the train station was brazenly naked, no form of security provided.
Exactly.
And then we are reacting. We are now going to look for the victims and rescue. So why is it that the police is always reactive and not proactive?
It's not very reactive. The whole policy, we know this one, it was a national problem, the Kaduna attack. Why didn't you address the issue of attack on railways? Why is this happening now at Benin? It's because we are not holistic in our approach.
Okay,
I think that has affected us. So it should be overhauled. The CCTV must work. The railway police, we have a dedicated police to the railway. So equip them, give them the technology and all this, and the railway police can cater for this without bringing any other policeman. It's supposed to address it. So we didn't approach. There was no good approach. The Caribbean incident should have been an eye opener for us to address this. We went to sleep.
Yeah, you see, you see, these things, a lot of factors are responsible for this problem. One, unnecessary political control of the police.
Exactly.
Police ought to be insulated from unnecessary political control. And then again, look at the police council. How often do they ever need to address police problems? They don't. They maybe once in a year. How? They should meet. The sergeant want to appoint the IG. The police problem should be discussed. This is the primary objective. Section 14 of the Constitution. But the police council may meet once a year, and then these problems are solving. Look at the police strength is grossly inadequate. Nigerians about 2 million Nigerian population. We are less than 400,000 police officers in this country. Then again, you see, the citizens themselves don't support. They don't feel that the police need to be supported. The police themselves, we need to do recruitment at least 10. The one way serve it. But we have put that 10,000 every year. There are not many years now because of the crisis between police service commission and the police. We've not been having recruitment. Like you said, there is a wastage in terms of retirement, in terms of death. Right now, policemen are being killed in government in the south, in the northeast, fighting side by side with the military. But they don't want to talk about police fighting in the middle. Fighting. We talk about the military now. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating Armed Forces Day. What would they ever Armed Remembrance Day? What would they ever celebrate Police Remembrance Day? Nobody recognizes us. You know why? Because we are the primary agency. But because we like I said, our leaders are too docile. I have to say it. We don't. You see, you have to stand for what is right for you. You have to accept this is what I need to work with. The one would say, the government just frustrate the police, not give them funds, not give them training, the welfare is zero. We are the poorest paid in the police in Africa.
Sipia Lobi, I want you to address, because even your countenance, I'm sure your countenance, speaks for the noble policemen out.
Of course, I want to work for the police.
I want you to, itemize those things that make you and the extension, the Nigeria police, unhappy.
You see, one, for instance, like I talked about, total neglect in terms of training, in terms of logistics. Today, police and security is technologically driven. We have no technology. We don't have any drones. Even our air unit is grounded. Our medical department is grounded. Some police stations don't have police vehicles. And now we talk about incidents happening. They respond to the situation. The time response that they give to the situation, it helps a lot. When the police don't have vehicles, when we're young officers, we have filling stations where you can go and fuel police vehicle. When you travel, you must fuel point to point. It doesn't exist. Our workshops are grounded. So we are totally neglect the Nigerian police force. That's why the country is suffering what it's suffering. And if we really want this country to be secured, we need to develop a police that will be a part of the nation. And the citizens should also see that they love the police. The police is there for you. Police is a friend. If you have a problem now, will you go and call a kidnapper or call an armed robber? You call the police. But if you police, you despise the police. Police are limited from the public, because what I talked about earlier, policing is something about the people. And the police should know that. When I was CPF, I told my people, I said, as you want your fathers and mothers to be policing in your village, that's how you police people in Abuja where I'm the CP. The fear of God, the human touch. We are there to serve the people. We need to make people feel that you have built confidence and trust. But now some of them are brutalizing citizens. They don't care. Corruption is also there, which of course that one is a national problem, national malady. Now you don't control all institutions. There's corruption everywhere. And even nepotic attitude.
Hold on for a while. You see, what you have said has already painted a scenario where we are in now presently. And you mentioned the military interregnums, in the past that tend to have brought down the police integrity and police capacity and capability and what have you. But again, that's over 40 years ago there. But I recall during the Shagari administration when we had the Metesine uprising, it was the military police that dealt with it. The military was not called, the army was not called. And like you said, there's no police members there and all of that. I can feel you. Right, but what we're talking about now is the present day policing is totally different from what we had yesteryears. Based on we have more electronic gadgets, we now have more strategic plans better than what we used to have before, based on the way the world has evolved so far. Now you have considered the fact that Nigeria is under policed.
Sure.
And meanwhile, some individuals are having a chunk of them following them up and down, and they're being killed here and there because the noisy politicians get them on convoy and get them exposed, and that's what we've experienced so far. Now, I want to ask Dr. Joshak on what he thinks with respect to equipping the police, even the number that we have, that's equipping the police with the modern gadgets that they can work with. And again, I don't know how to put it, rejuvenating, police operations in terms of mechanics, artisanal technology that we used to have. We used to have police workshops where you maintain your vehicles. This time is no longer there. It's no longer there. So how can this be reinforced?
Yeah, that also is the responsibility of the government. I think that CP and maybe pointed out, there are a lot of things, there are a lot of gap, a lot of issues that are glaringly put out there in the public domain. But the ability, the zeal of the government and those responsible for looking at what should be done is not done. And so you find a situation where you could have a lot of willing police officers, but the ability to perform is not there. The capacity is not there because they are not being provided with the necessity. And like I said, the foreign mission department also used to be under the operation, which is me. And a lot of them that have gone out there come in with a lot of certificates of commendation and what have you. They do excellently well, which means that we can do that here. But like I said, it's very, very difficult having the police out there and making them to perform. They also have their own issues. Some of them also have decided to do it their own way because some of the things like they mentioned, there are no vehicles to move. The vehicles are not being fueled. The workshop where we normally take this vehicle for repairs are not there. And so when you go out there, you look at even the number of patrol vehicles that are supposed to be in this in the various division are not there.
But we see. Sorry to interject. We see, state governors, state executives making, donations several times. We see private individuals also donating vehicles. Would it also be as a result of utilization of those vehicles, the way and manner those vehicles have been used?
Yes, the way that it's like.
You give this the Nigerian police this kind of vehicles for them to assist the state governors in ensuring that there is peace. The maintenance is one other thing. You need also to set up the maintenance workshop for the maintenance of this vehicle. We used to have them, but the police itself, they are not there. And so how do you expect? In fact, in some cases, the police officers on duty and are being assigned a vehicle, they try as much as possible to contribute to repair the vehicle and to fuel the vehicle. And so these are the issues. These are issues that are very glaring. These are issues that government must look at. And for me, I have had opportunity to mobilize the police and join with the military, whether it is Maiduguri or it is in Zamfara, or whether it is in Niger or Benue. And they do well. But the truth about the whole thing is, if the government is ready to reposition the Nigerian police, a lot of us are ready to, of course, tell them what the story are and what should be done. We have very willing officers out there, very gallant, ready to protect the citizen.
Okay, we will come back to that. So when we of course start to wind down our conversation, because that's the key roadmap to how to reposition the Nigeria Police Force. But I also, before I bring in AIG Mustafa, I would like to comment and to say indeed we have very high moral police officers, men and women. We've seen quite a number of them. Quite a number of the force spokespersons have been of high moral standard. Yes. We've also seen a lot of you, especially CP Alubi, and whenever we call upon you here to come to make some clarifications, you will always. But would it also be that the leadership of the police, apart from former IGP Awase, we've not had any IGP on this Good Morning Nigeria? They hardly respond to invitations. Would it also be that the alienation of the people via the actions of the few, as you would say, rotten eggs within the force, that is also causing this separation? Yes, and so Sunday India also was here. But apart from these two, I can't remember of any that has come up to go on Good Morning Nigeria to make some clarifications. It's always Dr. Desha, and a few others.
I think they should be able to respond. The president IG was public relation officer in Borno State. I was FRO in Abuja here. You and the police used to be my program. But
you and the police,
But you and the police. For over 3 years.
The reason we're having this conversation,
about 25 years ago.
The reason we're having this conversation is because when we had the last conversation, we did not have a representative from the police force. Yes, you have to say it.
I have to protest even on this.
Exactly.
You security, you can't bring police.
Yes. When the citizens call upon the police,
I came up. I think what is happening is if they should be, we encourage them to come. But what is there is to talk about what they have said. You see. We just have to get these things right. The long period of decadence is still there. You understand? 5 billion naira about 10 years ago, the recommendation you need 5 trillion naira to bring the police force to. The decadence was just too much. Go to Nigeria families today. If there's insurgency, go to UK. The police did not allow the military to come out when there was a terrorist attack. Who owns it? Who is the police primacy is very, very important. Police primacy is very, very important. Precisely. It is the police that should come out and contain this. But you have now pushed out the police, and there is the military that is fighting terrorism. Well,
the decision 207 of the Constitution provides that the military come in aid of the police. They now the company
when call upon.
So it is like you talk about appearing on this program is capacity. If you don't have capacity, you don't have that confidence.
What is the starting point? The starting salary of a police officer?
If I say it would be embarrassing. If I tell you how much I'm paying I only live on 200,000. As commissioner, I served for 35 years. My pension.
Okay, gentlemen, of course we have established the fact that there is some job to do. I mean, to see how we can, upgrade the Nigerian police. Of course, to enable it, grapple with the new wave of crimes that we are seeing in today's world. From what I've learned so far, after this, at the end up to this point, that an untrained policeman
is a threat
to society. Yes. And that you should not militarize the police.
Yes.
Because it's dangerous. So we should have a democratic policing. These are what's coming up from CP LOB. We will dissect more of that when we return from this very short break. Right. We are watching Good Morning Nigeria only on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we shall continue with this very interesting conversation. Don't go away.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes, and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great fearless, loyal and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, arise, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
The occasion gives cause to reflection and remind us of the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country.
All ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Lounge. Send your donations to this account. Account name, Emblem Appeal Lounge. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
I'm a teacher by profession. I trained as a nurse. I could not even remember some of them, but by their approach, greeting and respect,
I make beads. I liquid soap is I have stopped buying liquid soap from the market. I make it and I teach these young ones how to do that. And when I do, it is not for any fee.
In most cases, I serve as consultants. Many people come to me inquiring how to go about doing the farming. I normally direct them on what to do.
Right now, I'm not into any paid job, as I said, but I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Senior citizens over the years have shown that they are still capable of working. They have shown that retirement is only but a social construct, not a limitation. Senior citizens until the end carry around a wealth of knowledge that we can tap into. They have walked these journeys we now walk today. They have amassed all of these experiences so they can stand holding the torch so we do not stumble in the dark. Our senior citizens are national assets packed full with inestimable value. They should not be condemned to a life of obscurity, but one where they serve to illuminate our path. Promoting senior citizens for intergenerational workforce.
The Ministry of Police Affairs under my watch has been instrumental to strengthening the Nigerian police force to tackle challenges in the internal security architecture of the nation. To effectively achieve its mandate to protect lives and property within Nigeria, the Nigerian police have deployed operational intelligence and the ICT-based apparatus to tackle and stem the tide of crime and criminality. Some of these efforts include the maximization of the Force Intelligence Bureau, Intelligence Response Team, and Special Tactical Squads through digitalization of emergency contacts via the NPF Rescue Me application for emergency response at the top of a button.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as the elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Nigeria, and we are looking at the security situation in, of course, the country and how the police can, of course, be repositioned to be more effective. And we have, of course, the Dr. Habila Joshak, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, in charge of operations. We have Assistant Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Mustafa, also here with us, and former Commissioner of Police and a lawyer, Lawrence Alubi, all, of course, giving us their perspectives that you really want to, be improved upon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very, very passionate about Nigerian police force. Without police, no society can survive. Like I said, nations are based on law and order. You see, if you look at what was and what is and what ought to be, from that perspective, I'm a sociologist and also a lawyer. And when I look at society, what was the police before now? Even the British that brought in the Nigerian police force, we were the mother force. All other forces just came out from the police force. Definitely. But now the police that is supposed to be the mother is now become like this, like I said earlier, second fiddle. One, recruitment process. We must have the political will. I said, let us exclude the police from the municipal political control. And this political control has made the police to be ineffective.
How do you do that?
One, for instance, if there's recruitment now, people are qualified, don't qualify, whether they're underage or they're not, so you must take them. And so they intimidate, they want to enforce the IG. And then, again, even in terms of posting, after the governor said, I don't want to see people because the CP is upright, all they do is bleeding. That's supposed to be straight from political control. And then, training is, professionalism is being manifested in whatever he does. And then again, equipment that I said earlier, policing in the 21st century is technically driven and knowledge based. You must have capacities. You cannot do what you don't have. And technology is that we cannot just be into police based on the 20 years policing. Policing is dynamic, like crime is dynamic. We need to be with the trend. Globalization, the global nature of the world today is making the police that our operations are not sincere. And maybe because the police is always yes sir. That's why we don't in Africa, Nigerian police force. And then again, talk about the security agencies. They can obviously complement the effort of the police because there's no way police can be everywhere. We don't have that population, we don't have that strength. So the government should say they can do the problem of the police in terms of training, in terms of welfare, in terms of logistics, in terms of equipment, in terms of technology and so forth. They should look at it not just cosmetic reform. You have the police to make it effective and efficient police force that is operationally effective and people friendly. And police much, like I said, they talk about democratic policing. You see, the way we came up as a police force from the colonial to the military, that orientation of brutality, instability, we will buy that false. Police is not false. Like when I tried gas, prostration. When I was in Abuja, the University of Abuja, they blocked the whole highway. I went there myself, spoke with them. I used to be student activist when I was in University of Nsukka. And you see, you talk to the people, let them understand. When people understand, people should know that this is our police, we need to develop our police for our own good. So we develop that political way to give the country the police the country deserve.
I think you made one very, very salient point here, in the 21st century, which you say is technically driven and knowledge based.
Sure.
Therefore, you have to apply science, technology, and innovation. That's one of the experience I had in the capital of Israel, where I spent 1 week. I didn't see any police person, and I was asking questions to say, look, why is this so? I've not seen any policeman. But on that particular day, something happened. There was a little explosion. It was a bulb explosion along the street, of Tel Aviv, just opposite the Sheraton Hotel in Tel Aviv. Within 2 minutes, more than 25 policemen arrived from different directions. Yet there was no policeman. So it is technology driven. It may happen is signaled in so many police operating units, and they all arrive there. And so we can have that here because we have the capacity. That's what we're trying to talk about. Now, let me ask Dr. Habila Joshak, why is it, of course, established that the policemen that go with the VIPs are the ones that even get promoted? So guarding the street does not have good shoes to wear. He had to sew his clothes by himself. He even have to buy the bullet by himself and all of that.
And there's something CP and Obi have said, that there's a need for the government to look at what is happening in the Nigerian police, zeroing on each rank and person, and know exactly that the police required. The salary, we've talked about the recruitment and all of this. I would rather say, I think that, I don't know what is wrong, but I do believe that we've missed it now, because the police that was attacked even before the train would arrive. Police don't just get up and then say, okay, there's a train station out there. We have railway police. And these railway police are commanded by very senior officers. I believe maybe commissioner of police and above.
Were they giving special training for policing railway?
Yes.
But do we have it in Nigeria?
We have out here. There was nobody, maybe draw the attention of the Nigerian.
What should be the responsibility of the Nigerian Railway Corporation in this respect?
Yes.
The Nigerian Railway Corporation is supposed to alert the Nigerian police, the DPO out there. And that's why we've been calling for what we call the police station and the police post. People there, they will be able to observe what is happening. When people are preparing to come to commit crime, they will walk out and the police will see. All these kidnapping in the rural areas, if we have police post and police station, they are right out there in the interior.
In line with this thought, a lot of people have been calling for state police, not community policing, state police. And during the colonial period, which they call native authority and something for ease of administration. Whatever the colonial masters did anyway was for their ease of administration and convenience. So it was convenient for them, to mainstream the police in that formation. Now people are saying, okay, why don't we also do state policing? But CP Alobi is saying, do not allow politics, to creep into the police force.
Exactly.
So I don't know, how do we reconcile both clamor for state police and the politicizing the police force?
Well, I've carefully studied the argument of the various governors in this country, and a lot of them would want to have what we call the state police. There were documents that were being done, and that I was one of the review and to also tell you, but there are a lot of kind of state police in this country. I won't jump into recommending the means that the governor will have the responsibility of control, the command, and all of that. And that our politicking is not that which that if I am a governor of a state and I would want to create this and that, and so I'm suspecting that there like to be a lot of abuse, unless we are not going to conclude whether this will work until we see the document.
Okay, sir, because we're managing time now. When we get on state policy.
You see, state policy, Nigerians today, we don't think Nigeria, we think self. Think of our Deputy Senate President talking about the local government autonomous bill, how the governments are frustrating it. Why? Local government, that is a grassroots governance, grassroots base. But the government wants you to surely when we get that Nigerian consciousness. Kennedy told the Americans, don't think of what America will do for you. Think every American think of what it can do to make America a great nation. But with the Nigerian consciousness, not ethnic or Christian or Igbo consciousness, Hausa consciousness, or Fulani consciousness. When we develop Nigerian consciousness, I mean Nigerian whatever I am, and we do that thing, not say we will concern about the best interest of Nigeria. Whatever we do. Nationalistic tendency, patriotic something. For now, we are not right for state policy.
Are we right for state policy? We are not mature enough. All right. See, what you have said is what we have had over the years. Yes. But there are also opinions or perspectives to that. Because one, if you are afraid of the fact that it's going to be abused, you may never start it. And if you don't start it, you will not understand it. You will not improve on it. So, now security in Nigeria is becoming a problem. And to secure Nigeria from the center is also becoming a problem because in today's world there are varieties of criminality. As a matter of fact, the criminal tendency of human beings in Nigeria and all over the world has increased by 100% because of use of cell phone, social media and other gadgets that people can use. And if you know the kind of gadgets that operate today that people can buy and use and drop and get to do something you didn't want to do, you'll be amazed at that. So some persons also, a former military president of this country has said that we should do that. He said that over 10 years ago. Assuming we did that 10 years ago, by now we have stabilized. If you're a governor and you want to use your police, after 8 years you get out of power. Somebody takes over. And we can still deal with you. I mean, if you think that you're going to be a governor forever. So that's the point. But if you don't start it like in America, as true as it is, they have state police over the years and they have developed over time. What we are saying, or some of us who may believe in that, is that if we don't start to and look at security everywhere, local government security, local government administration. Well, if we have state police, of course, state police will also be in the local government areas. So we have ungoverned space in the country. How do we govern the ungoverned space?
Yeah. Some states cannot be paid salaries. Policing is capital intensive. The security capital intensive. Some states cannot be paid the salaries of their staff, of even
But they are going for it.
Because they don't have the funds. So some of them are just they just been fed by the government, but that is wait for allocation and so forth. They are not creative. They are not creative.
Has a duty vote that they give to the governors in this country, which we are told that security vote is not even constitutional, but because they don't retire the money and they don't even state how they utilize the money. So where they have to people, so why can't they deploy that money to the police?
Accountability is not there because it is when the government that controls it. It is when you make the.
I think if I can comment,
yeah.
The community policing is addressing some of these issues.
Is it working in Nigeria? Community policing?
Let's make it work actually. You understand? If we make it work, actually, it will address some of these issues. And most of the governors who are clamoring for state police, if you look at it, it's for their selfish reasons. Okay. Mostly. Yeah, not all of them. Not all of them.
We have just few minutes, and I'd like you to address this issue just before we go, because this year is a very critical year in the history of Nigeria.
Yes.
It's election year.
Yes.
And the umpires are already warning of security threats. And this is also critical for the Nigerian police.
Yes.
This is a period where the Nigerian police now will be evaluated and ordered. What would you expect from the Nigerian police with regards to 2023 elections?
Exactly. We have held a lot of elections. This one will also come and go in history by God's grace. We have to get stakeholders. With them, the police is widely spread everywhere. The police is, with even our limited number, we are widely spread. It's a matter of getting the appropriate support for the police. Then stakeholders sit down and dialogue like in the southeast. We need to sit with them very well, because that's why the greatest threat to the election. The Electoral Act should also be looked at. The laws are there. So let's address these stakeholders. We come together and it will be over. But by God's grace, election will come and go. The threats are always there. Like you said, we have 3 cases.
What about the personal commitment, Dr. Joshak? Personal commitment of the policemen?
I'll just be frank with you that the policemen are very, very ready. A lot of the police officers are very dedicated and are very, 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 very willing to do that which is right. I told you, it is the neglect, it is the inability to provide the necessity. And so I see a situation where this election is going to have a lot of challenges, and unless we're able to reposition the security very well, particularly the Nigerian police, I've seen a situation where local government A brought in some essential materials and is burnt, and the local government B will also take those same materials to that isolated INEC office and keep them. I know that we used to have the opportunity of keeping our materials that we think are exposed to attack or destruction in Central Bank and other places. And so I want to warn that those of them that have those of INEC staff that are in the rural areas should not, that they know that they are keeping those things in an abandoned place. There are no security there, and yet they go to put essential materials that have been burnt. They should be on, because they know that they are supposed to keep that in safe places within the confine of their area, so that the question of materials being burnt and attacked should be stopped.
Yeah, you see, the present IG has proactively started me organizing training on election security management, which I was involved in with Arase. I think police already conscious of the fact. Police, this is not the first election police is going to supervise or provide security. We've been having elections since the history of Nigeria as a nation, and the police are already there. And the police also, there's that collaboration and synergy between all that security agents. They're all involved in this election security, not just police alone. Although I would suggest that the police and other communities should come work together as one family with unified action based on synergy, cooperation, and collaboration.
CP Lawrence Alobi, I can remember what you did in your days. I will just pray that those days will come back again with Nigerian police. And thank you, sir, for being here this morning on Good Morning Nigeria. I would also like to appreciate Dr. Habila Joshak, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police. We thank you again for being here. Mohammed Mustafa, retired. We also thank you for coming today. All right.
All right, that's Good Morning Nigeria for today, Tuesday. We do hope you'll find time to join us again same time tomorrow for another interesting edition. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul Razak. Always remember that rape is a crime, and of course, let us condemn the rapist.
I am Kieran Umair. Enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you again tomorrow.